7th, 2025. You are on my 13-mile commute home. Welcome to the show. See, I told you early morning risers that I might be doing another show this afternoon. So we're doing another show this afternoon. So we finished up the Vegas stuff, so we're done with that. I do want to talk about what I did this weekend, which was, it was a lot of work. So I have a hot tub, right? Some of you who've been around long enough know that Passenger Seat Radio sometimes goes to after hours at the hot tub episodes. So right before summer hit, it gets way too hot to have a hot tub, and our hot tub doesn't do cold water as well as hot water. So it's either hot, so it's either you heat it, it's as hot as it is outside, which around here is like $1.20. And that's it. So it doesn't get a ton of usage in the summertime. So now what you're supposed to do with a hot tub is they call it winterizing, but it really isn't. It's summerizing around here. So, you're supposed to drain it, blah, 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 do all this stuff. Well, kind of forgot to do that. Now, if you've ever had a hot tub that hasn't had any chemicals or cleaning or agitation or anything for a whole bunch of months, you probably have an idea what it was that I got to open up my tub lid to, and it wasn't comely. Let's just put it that way. It's pretty nasty. So I was trying to kind of figure out how to approach that, right? Because you don't want to crawl into a nasty algae bacteria infected tub, right? So what do you do in that situation? Well, I shot from the hip. I went out to the store and I bought 5 gallons of bleach. Now, this is going to interest you, even if the concept of hot tubs and cleaning disgusting hot tubs does not. I found this extremely interesting, so I wanted to share it with you. So what we had in the tub was a lot of brown, nasty, trendled shit all over the inside of the tub, right? So what I did was, it was on the bottom, on the sides, everywhere. So I took the bleach and I dumped 4 gallons of bleach into the tub, closed the top, and let it sit for a few hours. Now, I was kind of doing that maybe to just kill anything that might make me ill if I have to work with the water. I've got a great pump, right? So one of the secrets of owning a hot tub is to have a really good pump. They don't tell you this sort of thing when you buy a hot tub. A drainage pump that has positive displacement, puts out 50 gallons a minute. I don't remember what the actual specs are, but it's a lot. I got this nice big 3-inch freaking hose for it. Yeah, that just sucks that thing right out. But you're kind of wondering, what's going to happen to the nasty green, brown, sludgy shit that's in there? I'm assuming the pump's going to move it, but I don't know. So I didn't really know. So I came back after 2 hours of having 4 gallons. This is I think it's a 350 or 400 gallon tub, just so you have some sort of, picture. So I dumped 4 gallons in there. I left the last one thinking I was going to use it for general cleanup, wiping the thing down after I drained it, yada, yada, yada. I got the gloves. I got the goggles. Probably should have some sort of protective breathing gear, but I did not, which means I'll probably be talking to you sick as hell from some bacteria I picked up, but I digress. So I opened up the tub after 2 hours of the bleach, and this is really interesting. All the shit bubbled to the surface. The stuff that was on the bottom, the stuff that was on the side, it's now all bubbled up to the surface. And I'm like, well, shit. That's kind of cool, because otherwise you're going to have to be scraping or peeling or wiping that shit off the insides, right? So I got a kitchen strainer, and I put gloves on. I started straining the shit off the top. And you wouldn't believe how freaking effective that was. It was just all at the top. Now, there were little trendles on the vents, and, God only knows what was inside the vents. I'm going to get to that. So you don't really know what it's going to look like. But, by the time I got done scraping, it was just kind of dirty water. It wasn't, fucking swampland, right? So that was kind of cool. Grabbed the pump, plugged it in, pumped it as far as I could. And believe it or not, once all the water was gone and I'd already done the skimming, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I expected it to be really nasty. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, so, like, what do you do next? Do you fill it and then run it and get all the shit and nasty gunk that's inside into the water and then drain it again? I didn't know. Didn't know how that was going to work out. But, you know, in order for you to cycle it through, you got to fill the whole tub. So now you're talking about another 400 gallons of water, running the damn thing, and hope to God it even, you know, I don't know how long. I mean, I don't know what kind of, I don't know. I just didn't know. So, yeah. So I said, okay. So I drained all the water out. I put some gloves on. I took some heavy towels, and because, you know, the pump only gets down to like this far at the bottom. So you still got to get all the nasty other water out. But like I said, all the shit bubbled to the top. I had no idea that that's what was going to happen. So, yeah, it was actually after I soaked up all the water out of it, it looked pretty damn good. So then what I did is I sprayed the inside of it out, powerful hose, anything I could see that looked brown, green, and not tan. I sprayed it down, got it all sort of collected at the bottom, pumped out what I could again, which was a few inches, and then soaked the rest up with a towel. Now, what I didn't tell you, I pulled the filters. Now, one of the things about winterizing is or summerizing, is you probably should pull the filters out. Well, I didn't pull the filters out. To say they were disgusting is a complete understatement of the word disgusting. They were pretty fucking bad. Now, here's the good, if there is a good part. By the way, it was shut off, so it wasn't trying to run filter cycles with all that nasty shit in it. That's my one saving grace. I did shut it off. So I took the filters out, and they had this cake of slime around them, but it was almost like a film. It wasn't like seaweed. It was like a film, and it just sprayed right off. I was amazed. Now, I am going to replace the filters, right? But what I needed to do was use those filters. I cleaned them as best I could, bleached the shit out of them, did all that good stuff, and I sprayed them out. I got them pretty clean. You wouldn't know that they had been sitting in that muck. So I figured I'd put them back in, fill the tub up, and see what happens. Because are all these nasty trindles going to come flying out? Is it basically just going to completely re-filthy it again once I turn it on? I didn't know. One of the reasons I want to share the story. So I filled it about halfway up where it catches the first set of vents. Now, once you get, I don't know if you have a hot tub, maybe you know this or not, but once you fill it up to a certain point, the water pressure starts pushing fluid into the lower piping. So once it does that, you're thinking, okay, so if there's anything in there, it's probably starting to flush through. That was my thought anyway. So I said, okay. So I started filling up the tub, and it turns out that my hose had a giant fucking tear in it. Nothing survives Arizona's sun, folks. You know those 10-year hoses that you buy at Home Depot? Fuck that. They don't last 10 years. They last 2 years, tops. So I'm putting more water into the yard than I am into the tub at this point. The sprayer that I had for the hose had completely disintegrated. It was unbelievable. So Home Depot trip. Went to Home Depot, and I bought, this was brilliant on my part, if I do say so myself. I bought a pool skimmer. Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, if not too much shit comes out of the pipe, maybe I won't have to drain it again. I can scoop the nasty stuff up, shock the living crap out of it, kill everything, and I won't have to dump it out and refill it again. That was the game plan. So I got shock, I got bromine. What else did I get? I got something. Oh, I got a new hose, right? Fucking $70 for a hose. Unbelievable. And then a new sprayer, metal this time, not plastic. Pay a few extra bucks in Arizona. What do you want? Yeah. So I get home, right? And now's the moment of truth. is the thing even going to turn on, right? I had one of the motor pumps replaced last year, so I figured maybe I was good. Hard to say. And so I flip it on, and I got my finger over the button going, come on, baby. Let's see that. Let's see that. Bang. And so, again, if you've had a hot tub or a pool or anything, you know that, like, the pumps don't respond right away. So they sound like they're running. You're like, fuck, it's not working. Because you don't hear anything passing through, but it's doing something. So I stop and I run the upper jets. Those decided to work, and yes, they spit out nasty shit, right? But it was nowhere near the amount of nasty shit that I expected it to. So I figured, okay, it's all at the bottom. As soon as the bottom pumps kick in, it's going to start putting shit all in there. It's going to be nasty. So I let the top ones run for a little while, right? I got the skimmer out, and dude, it worked a treat. I skimmed the shit out of that freaking hot tub, and the water was looking good, right? So finally, now that the upper ones have run and the water's circulating and we got all that, so then I turned on the bottom ones again. Finally, they kicked in. You can find, it's that very satisfying, if you know what I'm talking about, you know, that very satisfying whoosh as the, I don't know if it's an air pocket or whatever clears, but there's a very satisfying sound of water rushing through the internal piping and then blasting out through the vents. And yeah, and so I'm like looking in the water, and it's like, okay, there's some stuff, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot. I think I'm gonna be okay. So I skimmed the living crap out of it, shocked the hell out of it, dropped a couple bromine tabs in it, put it on, and just let her run. Let the filters take out the rest of it, right? Anything that was left. So I left it for a few more hours, let the filter cycle run a few times, went back out, turned on the pumps a few times. And by the end of the day, by the end of Saturday, right? Because this was all done on Saturday. The end of Saturday, I popped open the cover, and it looked great. I mean, you would have never known that thing looked like freaking a Vietnam jungle, man. I'm telling you, it looked great. The water was beautiful. The pumps are running. Unbelievable. So yeah, so I was all excited, and now that I'm all excited that the hot tub is back up, now I'm ready to kind of tidy up, because the backyard has been neglected, and it's been neglected a lot. So one of the reasons why we have a fenced-in backyard is so we could let the dogs out in the backyard. It's a nasty glare. Can I get rid of that? Nope. Maybe if I put this thing in. That doesn't help at all, does it? Whatever. Anyway, you're not here to look at me anyway. Yeah, so, you know, there was crap in the backyard. So that's what I did most of the day on Sunday, was yard work and cleanup. There was some nasty shit that I left behind in the backyard. I totally forgot about it. I had to pay the penalty. And I'll tell you what, man, I've never lived anywhere else where the sun is all destructive, man. Like, anything you leave out just starts disintegrating. It's just a matter of how fast it disintegrates, right? Yeah, so anyway, that was my entire weekend. So yes, yesterday afternoon, I got into the tub first time in months and months and months. Now, the TV that I'd put out there, I've given up. This is my second TV, and it didn't even last a year. The sun, the weather, it's not conducive to that shit. So I'm kicking around a couple of ideas. A projector that I can bring in and out, because projector technology is getting pretty good. And literally, I've got these bars around the top that we hang up curtains, right? So I could easily just dangle a freaking screen and put a projector up there. So I've got some options. Oddly enough, though, my Pile speakers are freaking champions. Got a couple of outdoor speakers from Pile, Bluetooth, and I've never turned them off. I've never unplugged them. And they've been here, what, 4 years? 3-4 years? Work like a champ. And they sound great, too. Even over the rushing water, they sound fantastic. So Very cool. So at least I had music, right? I didn't have any TV to watch, but I had music, and that was good enough. So the rest of my weekend, and I bet many of you also had a similar scenario, the rest of my weekend was taken up by that new indie game, Ball X Pit, or Ball Cross Pit, or however they pronounce it. It's Ball X Pit. And that, oh my God, I was playing that all fucking weekend, man. So let me tell you about this game, in case you're not already playing it, right? Because I bet you are. Most of you probably are. You're probably playing it. If you haven't played it, you already know about it. But I got to fill some time now. I thought the hot tub story would take longer. I just got 13 minutes. So this is it's a roguelike. It's an action shooter, light builder game. All right, so let me just run you through it. I'm trying to think of the best way. It's unlike anything I've played before, so it's really hard to compare. So the game loop is this. Basically, big sinkhole opened. Treasure hunters are now descending into the depths to find treasures that have been unearthed. That's the storyline. As much of a storyline as you're going to get anyway. And so you have a base of operations that you operate out of, right? Hence the term base of operations. God damn it, I was hoping I'd make this light. I did not. Epic fail. So you have this platform that goes into the pit, and you don't do anything really with the platform, but you can upgrade it so that it goes deeper into the pit. That's pretty much it. And you have this little base where you can build shit. And most of it has to do with resources, right? Plant wheat, boulders. I like how boulders regrow, but listen, whatever. Forest, boulders, and like wheat. And then every person that you have unlocked is a character that plays inside this base. Try to follow with me here on this one. I'm probably not doing a good job. The game loop starts with a harvest. So you start off with one guy, and so you have this little tiny guy in this overview of this big giant area, and you set him in motion, right? You point him in a direction, you send him in motion, and he runs for a certain number of seconds. Whatever he touches, like say wheat or forest or rocks, he harvests them. And you use those harvests to buy buildings, right? You start off with like no buildings. You start off with like one building. And then here's sort of the curious part. You have to construct the building. And how do you construct it? Run people into it. So your harvest loop is really about harvesting, ramming into buildings so that you're either finishing up their construction or you're updating them to a newer version, right? Every time you do an upgrade, it costs you resources, and you still have to run your people against it to build it. Crazy shit. Where the hell are you going? Yeah, the light hasn't turned green yet. He's just off running in the middle. And so, okay, so once you harvest, you have a cooldown, so you can't harvest again. So what do? You play the actual main game. So you go down into the pit, you take whichever character you want. Now you start with one character, right? So you have to unlock more characters. So you descend into the pit, and you are a little guy. There's a corridor, and enemies are coming down the corridor. It's sort of an isometric view. Enemies are coming down the corridor, and you have a little reticle that you can point with the right stick, and you move with the left stick, so it's an independent twin stick type shooter. Left trigger, of course, will fire off whatever you have. Now, your ammunition starts off very humble. You have what they call baby balls, which are these little tiny blue balls. They don't do a ton of damage, but you can fire them pretty regularly. Then you've got special balls that do things, right? The higher up you get, the more people you unlock. The further you get, the better balls, the more powerful they become, etc., etc. You get the idea. The idea is you got to bounce them off the enemies. But the balls keep bouncing, right? So when they hit an enemy, they'll bounce off. So you can literally get some super killer breakout shit going on by busting as the enemies are coming down, sort of little Space Invaders, this made a little breakout thing. You open up one of the corners and you just pour balls into the corner and it just sits there and bounces off the back. Very satisfying. And then as they die, they drop shit like, gems, right? Which improve your XP, right? And you pick up gold. There's wheat and shit to pick up too. There's various things and blueprints that let you build new buildings, right? And so you got to run over and pick those up. Meanwhile, if any of the guys get too close to you, they'll take a punch at you. And if they get to the bottom, they'll instantly do some damage to you once they get all the way to the bottom. So it's a tap dance. It's a graceful dance of... That scared the shit out of me. I'm not used to going by trains. Crazy. So you're trying to keep everybody contained at the top. The problem, though, is when you have a lot of white space, the balls travel and you don't get them. They eventually will come back to you, but not until they've bounced around for a while. So now at some point you have nothing to fire, right? Because all your shit's in play. You can't recall them. They just have to bounce back to you. So you have to control your ammunition. You have to understand the types of ammunition that you have. Some of them have cooldowns, like the dark ball. The dark ball is God, but it has a cooldown. And if you're not pacing it right, you'll waste it by throwing it at something it shouldn't be. So it's really like an action shooter that feels like sort of a combination of Breakout and a few other games. But it's ball centric, right? So just like any one of these other games, right? The formula is already in stone. Pick up enough gems, you fill up the XP bar, you get to pick from one of 3 items, right? An extra ball, a different ball, a new ball, an upgraded ball, passives, make your ball travel through enemies, blah, 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 increase your critical damage to the front, to the side, from the back, whatever. And then you have like lightning balls and earthquake balls and like every type of ball you can think of. Freeze balls, slime balls, poison balls. Tons and tons of shit to unlock. And every one of them have some sort of different thing. But here's the cool part. Occasionally, they'll drop this little rainbow swirl thing. You pick that up and that brings you into a fusion menu. So if you happen to have the right balls, not all balls can be fused and not all balls can be evolved. So there's 3 different possibilities that can happen. One, you can just upgrade your balls, right? So 1 to 5 upgrades. So it's a random pull. And if you have, let's say, 3 balls, you'll probably get all 3 of them upgraded. So they get +1 level up. But if you've got the right balls, you can combine them. So let's say, for example, you take a fireball and a laser ball and you merge them together with fusion. Now that ball does first tons more damage, but the actual ball effect is all both in one ball. And then once you have that evolved ball, you would have the opportunity to use fission and bring it higher, right? So anyway, it's crazy. And then you can do an evolution ball, which takes 2 balls and makes it into a brand new ball. And there's some crazy ass fucking balls, people. The more you sit and play with it, the more you kind of want to, the more you want to do it. The more you want to experiment, put this ball together with that ball, see how it works. So every level that you play, there's various regions, right? Frozen world, desert world. It's all pretty standard shit. Swamp world. Each one has various conditions about the region. There's ice to slip on in the ice world. There's like sticky swamps in the swamp world. Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. And there's different enemies. And the enemies start stacking, right? So that's how they raise the difficulty. Because there's a finite number of spaces on the board for enemies, right? So what they do is they stack them. They take the enemy and they stack them. So when you do enough damage, it destroys the bottom stack, but then you have 2 more to go. Blah, blah, blah. So you have 2 sub-bosses on the way, right? So you'll sit there and you'll grind, you'll upgrade, right? And it's like anything else. Depending on the luck of the draw, which random ones you happen to get for your upgrades, along with the person that you're playing. The person has a lot more to do with things than most of these games. Most of the time, it's just a different skin. Big difference on this one when you get new people. And there's some really interesting stuff. But anyway, then at the end, you get a big boss, right? And it's odd to me. I've got 4 levels in, right? I've got 4 levels to the pit that I can go to. The first one's still the hardest. I mean, it's really weird that like the first one is the hardest guy. But anyway, so once you finish your run, right? You finish your run, whether you die or you beat the guy, doesn't matter. If you beat the guy and it's the first time you've beat the guy, you get a gear. You get 2 gears, you can upgrade your pit, go down to the next world. You get the idea. So then once you get back from the play loop of the game loop, right, now you're ready to build, right? So you got all this good shit that you pulled from your run. You're going to build new stuff, explore your blueprints, right? See what the blueprints have to offer, set up some buildings, get them ready to build, and then you roll right back into the harvest loop. In the harvest loop, you throw the guys at the buildings you want to build, try to bounce them off the walls, and you can move this shit at will, right? So the smart guy will literally figure out a way to make one guy sit and bounce in a circle, you know, between a couple of buildings and just build that one building. It becomes a little more complicated than that, but that's the idea. The clever person will figure that out. And it's kind of like Tetris. The buildings are of different shapes. So you have this very finite area to build, and you can buy the land around it, but it's pretty expensive. So you can build around it, but so you end up starting to try to figure out how to fit the buildings together to make the most of your room. But then you got to move them in and out so that you can make sure that your workers are slamming into them. So you get a new person pretty frequently. I think I'm up to 5 or 6 guys now, and they all have very different properties. They start with a different type of ball. They start with different types of strengths and weaknesses. Really cool. And there are some that work better in different environments, right? So not only do you have all of your guys, you've got all of these worlds to play them in. And, you know, it's that completionism thing, right? Okay, I've got everybody has beaten the first world. Cool. Now I'm going to work these next guys to build blah, blah. You get the idea. But yeah, some of the characters are like super pissant. One of them really makes me crazy, but it is very interesting. So this guy, it basically says he's too busy thinking to care or something like that. And he wants to make all the decisions. So literally, you're playing the guy for real, right? I mean, you're shooting and gathering and shit. But when it comes time to pick a power up, he picks it. You don't get to pick it. When it comes time to do a fusion or a fission, you don't get to pick it. He picks it. So it's fascinating, and it's very educational, by the way, to watch how the computer is choosing based on the items that you have. And they do it kind of slow enough so you can see. It's pretty interesting. It's a great game. The game's like $14, and I've got like 8 hours into it already. So game is paid for itself, even if I never play it again. Oh, plays great on Steam Deck. In fact, it was almost like it was made for Steam Deck. It plays great. Doesn't slow down when tons of shit are on the screen. Really fun. So recommended. Ball X Pit, or Ball Cross Pit, or however they actually pronounce it. I highly recommend you pick it up. Like I said, it's got like 10% off right now. Under $15. Awesome. Another indie hit is upon us. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'm Shane R. Monroe, Passenger Seat Radio. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.